Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Black Diamond Call for Monday, the 18th of September. This is John, and I am going to be your host, as I am each week on the Black Diamond Call. And this is always a fun time that we get to spend together each week here on the DA Live Call and Webinar series, and where we get to talk about pretty much whatever I want to talk about, or if I have a guest speaker, whatever they want to talk about. And it's always something that I think is not only instructive, but hopefully entertaining and enlightening as well. I'm going to tell you some stories tonight. I got some ideas on my mind that I think are going to specifically benefit our newer members, which in my assessment are the most important people in the company. So before we get into all that, though, a couple items here. First one is that we are having our Marketing Mastery event on October 14th and 15th in sunny Las Vegas. If you are brand new here inside Digital Altitude, you do want to go ahead and check that out. We are going to be selling out of tickets for this event. VIP level tickets sold out long ago, and currently we do have some tickets left for the standard admission called the Sherpa ticket. A Sherpa is someone who roams the mountains, and let me pull up the dictionary here real quick. I don't want to give you my interpretation of a definition. So let me give you right out of the dictionary here. A member of a Himalayan people living on the borders of Nepal and Tibet, renowned for their skill in mountaineering. So there you go. So there's the mountain metaphor, which of course we're very fond of here inside Digital Altitude. And there's also an informal definition for Sherpa. It says here, informal, a civil servant or diplomat who undertakes preparatory political work prior to a summit conference. There you go. Origin from Tibetan Sharpa, inhabitant of an eastern country. Now we know, okay, there's the etymology of the word Sherpa. So anyway, grab your Sherpa ticket, and we will see you there, live and in person, October 14th and 15th, 2017. I am so looking forward to that. That is my only announcement for tonight. So we're going to get right into it. The Black Diamond Call is a bit different in the way that we just pretty much tell like it is. Not that we don't really do that on every call. We kind of do. But this one is where you're going to hear my thoughts on stuff. Me, John Lavinia, how I run my business, how I run my life, and things that got me to the top of my game and multiple millions of dollars down the road from where a lot of people are when you're just getting started. So I want to share these ideas with you, and I'm going to ask you to see how these ideas apply into your own life, into what you're doing, into your business. These are ideas for use. As entertaining as I like to believe I am, this is stuff that I'm hoping you're going to take and use and do it profitably. So the rules are take what you like and leave the rest. And of course, if I say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. That's just how we roll around here. So that being said, I was thinking back to when I was new. I was thinking back to when I was making the decision to get started, to get involved, and to do something with this whole top-tier direct sales industry, which I had discovered. Some of you you guys know about a bit of my story, how I discovered top-tier direct sales. It was after some time of me wandering the wilderness, like a Sherpa, I suppose, although I was kind of on flat ground. I was dwelling in the valleys. I was in the valleys of darkness, working jobs, and wondering what life was about and why a guy as motivated as me, because I was motivated, I was working like 70 hours a week and more, why a guy like me was not getting the traction that I wanted to get. Now, I had failed in multiple businesses. I did a franchise, right? I did a franchise that cost me well over six figures, and again, cost me 70, 80 hours a week, nonstop work. And, I was making above average income compared to, I suppose, the average American, but I'm not here to compare myself to the average. Average, by definition, is unremarkable, right? I'm not here to be unremarkable. Does anyone have a goal to be unremarkable? Like, is that your goal? I think not. Okay, so that wasn't my goal. But I had goals, you see. I had goals, and I was failing to reach them. Sure, I had some wins here and there. It wasn't like a life of, one turmoil after another. There was plenty of turmoil too, but there was, there was a lack of gratification in the area of, my business success. Now, I had some success in other areas of my life, and in my case, I had I had some other decisions that I had to make. This word decision, by the way, is going to come up often in this conversation tonight. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth until I hear it, but I know the word decision is going to come up a lot. That bell is ringing in my head right now. So I had some other decisions to make in my life, starting with the decision to just become a productive member of society. My youth was very troubled. I was not productive. I was one of these rebellious kids who had no purpose and, was running the streets in New Jersey where I grew up and hated school and all that, right? I'm not saying that you have to like school. I'm just telling you what my experience was. In fact, I meet a lot of very successful people who also didn't profit much from public schools, government-run schooling. But anyway, I got through that, and I had to make some decisions about what I wanted to do with my life. And something that was gratifying for me was when I could see a result. Here's the thing, everybody. When I could see a result from my efforts, right? Now, does anybody like to do you like to put in a bunch of effort and not see a result? Does anybody like doing that? I don't. There is such a thing as deferred gratification, right? And we can all experience that. We all do experience that. I mean, my goodness, we're entrepreneurs. It's not like you spend $1 on your first advertisement and you get $2 back, right? If it was that predictable and instantaneous, everyone would spend $1. In fact, how quickly can we spend $1? Can we do that right now? Can we do it 10 million times right now? If that was the only decision that needed to be made, then of course everyone would be successful. So I was looking for something that I could do that was productive, and for me it was the mechanical fields. I became an automotive and diesel technology guy. I used to work on engines, and I became very good at that. Very good. Yeah, I went to school for that. I did the the courses, and I graduated top of my class. I got a job working in New York City out of Staten Island on New York Harbor, working on tugboats, big locomotive diesel engines and stuff like this. Filthy, dirty work, living on the boats with drunken sailors for weeks at a time. Miserable, 20 years old, right out of diesel college. And that was it. But it was gratifying in the way that I know how to make machines run, right? Now, coming out of a life of repeated failures and disappointments, that was a big step up. That was like, wow, I know enough about this piece of machinery to get an effect with it. Yes, I was effective. I was the cause, and this machine running properly was the effect. Very gratifying. And that was the result of me making a decision to become a competent mechanic. Okay, so there you go, and I made 40 grand a year or whatever. And after a couple of years of that, I went on to working on land. I just couldn't handle the boats anymore, and I got on land, and I was working one day at my job where I was, again, repairing machinery. In this case, it was cars. And I noticed that the guy who was running the business that I was working for, his life wasn't working. Now, he was a drunkard, right? He was an alcoholic. He was on his third divorce, right? So there's another sampling that we could take of our environment and see, what people are doing with their lives. And I wasn't attracted to this. I was thinking, my goodness, if I really climb the corporate ladder, I could get up to be a manager of a store like this and, be like this guy. Now, the embedded message in there, by the way, everyone, is that once you are successful and demonstrating a lifestyle of people, be careful what you demonstrate, right? Because people are looking. People are looking, especially, we've got parents on the line here. You've got kids. They're looking right now. What example are you setting for them? This is a question that I ask myself every day. It's a good way to remain vigilant, right? Constantly on guard for, not doing stupid stuff that other people will then think is licensed to duplicate stupid stuff. So that's not what I'm here to perpetuate. But anyway, I saw this guy, and then I saw this other guy. This other guy was, he was a tool salesman. He would sell tools from shop to shop, and he was deciding to get out of the business. And I was thinking, you know what, I'm going to get into that business. And I bought that franchise. That was the franchise that I mentioned, where I sunk a bunch of money and worked a lot of hours. And I did what I knew how to do, which was talk to mechanics about tools and create some exchange there, right? Here's the tools, give me some money. And I did that for a couple of years. And again, 70, 80 hours a week, work, still not reaching my goals. Lynn's asking if it was Snap-on. No, it was Snap-on's biggest competitor, Matco out of Akron, Ohio. And, and I'll tell you what, starting a franchise is no small endeavor. Now, that one is a rather easy one to start. You just go to their school, you pay the money, you get the inventory, you get the truck, you get through their certification program, and off you go. You've got, obviously, you buy from them at wholesale, you sell at retail. So getting into that business is not that big of a deal compared to some of these other franchises, where the price is times 5 or times 10, for like McDonald's. This was like $100,000 to get into that. Now we're going back to the 1900s here, so I don't know, it might be 200 grand now. I don't know if any of you are considering tool sales, truck routes or anything, but if you were, that's one of the easier franchises to get into if you've got an aptitude for that sort of a thing. Okay, but again, there's a lot of control that's put on you as a franchisee. Like you don't get to decide what you're going to sell, and you follow their guidelines, right? You're dealing with their systems and all that, and so a lot of people that is an advantage. And by the way, that's an advantage that we have here inside our world. With this opportunity, we have tried and true methods. What we don't have, very nicely, what we don't have is the 10 billion regulatory considerations of franchising and uniform franchise offering circulars, which I think they call them something else now. Those are all the legal documents and getting your lawyers and doing all the stuff that needs to be done. We don't have royalties or franchise fees that we need to pay. We don't have quotas, right? You can't be kicked out of your franchise if you're not performing, right? So here we've got the benefit of all the systemization, because we've learned stuff, Michael, myself, other people behind the scenes who are very competent, by the way, very good at what they do. They know stuff, right, because they've been around. We didn't just show up here. We didn't just, fall off the turnip truck and decide, yeah, this sounds cool. Let's do direct sales. No, that's not what happened. Not what happened. This has evolved over a long time now. So, so that being said, I decided to make some other decisions, right, because I had had enough of that franchise. One of my customers, came onto my tool truck. Okay, this is actually a truck you walk inside of, right, like a big box van, or I'm not sure if you're in other countries what you would call it, but like a step van, big box truck. And all the tools are displayed inside. I got my computer in there, and I'm doing business. And one of my customers, some of you have heard this story before, one of my customers walked onto the truck and said, "Hey, John, you seem like a pretty sharp guy. You keep your options open on ways to maybe make some more money?" Now, here I was working 70, 80 hours a week, dealing with shipping, receiving, issuing credit to people who, for some reason, couldn't pay their bill. They've got a different excuse each week. The most common excuse, by the way, in that field was, "Man, I spent the money at the bar with the girls and the this and the that." Okay, got it. So we're talking about like $20 a week for the revolving credit account. No big deal, even interest-free, and they still couldn't come up with the money. But so there you go, right? And this guy walks onto my truck, and he's asking me if I keep my options open because I'm a pretty sharp guy. Yeah, I do keep my options open. Thank you for noticing I'm so sharp. What are we talking about here? Next thing you know, I was at my first ever multi-level marketing presentation. Now, anyone here ever did any of that? Multi-level marketing. And it may sound like I'm saying it disparagingly, and I'm not. I see Danielle. I see Chris. Yes, okay. The big A, right? We're not going to say the name of the company, but it starts with an A and ends in a way, But but yet, multi-level marketing, brilliant concept. Oh my goodness, brilliant, sign me up. Sounds awesome. Yes, multi-level marketing. We're all going to do a little bit. and then, because we're all doing this big thing where, we each do a little bit, and then ultimately, the leverage of all that, the duplication, the duplication, five get five who get five, and all you got to do is, dress up in a suit, bring them to the meeting, and we're going to draw circles, or do hotel presentations, or draw circles on napkins at coffee shops, milk and cookie parties. Danielle's saying it didn't work for me. Yeah, well, guess what, Danielle? It didn't work for me either. My best year doing that stuff, I wound up folding the franchise because I just couldn't handle it anymore. It was just terribly stressful and not gratifying. The brochure was better than the actual doingness of it. But hey, some people love it. Some people are in a franchise for generations. Okay, that's fine. Do that then. But for me, it wasn't my thing. This whole idea of home-based business and truly being on my own and having, yes, a product line that I didn't have to manufacture, that's nice. And yes, accounting teams and people who take care of compensation plans and all that, well, that sounds nice. And since this concept is so great, right, and it's so appealing, and millions of people are involved, certainly there's going to be a glut of people who I know who are also bright and who keep their options open. There's got to be people that I know that would want to do this. I mean, after all, I want to do this. So I started contacting people I know, which, by the way, was the only marketing method ever taught. Make a list of 100 people. You need some memory joggers. This was actual training. The memory jogger list. Who's your plumber? Like really? And when you were a kid, who was the guy that did the, I don't know, who groomed the dogs or something, right? Get out the yellow pages, start at A, and start going through and reading the various professions, you see. And I suppose, I don't know, what's something early? I'm thinking aardvark. That would be like the dictionary. So what would be like earliest in the yellow pages that you could find? Attorney? No, that's AT. Something earlier than that. But anyway, start with A, go to Z. Memory joggers. I see Danielle here. Lol, my friends were never as motivated as me. The list was not people I would want to start businesses with as much as I love them. Yeah, Danielle, exactly. So they didn't qualify for your business time. They may have qualified for your social time if you guys have other things in common. Entrepreneurship isn't one of them, though. That's not one of the things you guys had in common. Well, guess what? Now we're forcing, think about this, we're enforcing a method which may not be workable for a lot of people. However, in that world, that was the only method taught, right? In fact, I was talking to one of my students, Mary over in Queens, New York. Mary, if you're listening in, we love you. You're awesome. Glad you're here. So she was like, yeah, you know what? I want to learn marketing because I don't want to call my friends, family, neighbors, or beat the street, or, however it is, the 3-foot rule. Anyone who could fog a mirror is a prospect, right? And in Queens, New York, I suppose that could be anybody on the street, right? I mean, it could have some guy sitting on the corner asking for a change or something. Hey, you look pretty sharp. Do you keep your options open? I mean, I don't know. Where does it end? Where's the threshold of disqualification for that? Well, if that's your only method, the threshold is really pushed way far out. Way far. Way. Okay? So now here we are learning marketing, which is I think much more resourceful because out of all the people there's like 7 billion other people that you don't know yet who actually, some of them actually are interested in like being sharp and keeping their options open. Yes, there are really people, by the way, all of you, right? And me, right? We're the people we're looking for. So there's going to be some marketing, there's going to be some sorting involved. This is not directly where I wanted to go with this tonight, but just to give you some backstory here. So here I was in this multi-level marketing thing. And it was painful. Again, not to disparage MLM, right? The concept is brilliant. Brilliant. Now, if we could do something about that last M, the marketing, right? If we could actually learn something, we could definitely succeed in that sort of a business model. I think I could. But you know what? After a couple of companies and thousands of dollars down the drain and joining the NFL, right? No friends left. I decided I'm just out of desperation. I got to get a job. I mean, I've got to take care of business here and be responsible and pay bills and living off of my wife's, she wasn't even my wife yet at the time, but we're living together, and, we've got this, apartment we got to pay for, and she's a school teacher, right? Oh, Laura liked the NFL acronym. Yes, the NFL. So I get a job, right? Now, during this process, right, starting from, franchise and selling tools, actually starting before that, because I had a band that I was running before the franchise. This is back when I was still a mechanic. I ran this, it was a heavy metal band, so we weren't like making big money or anything. In fact, we were losing money. You can consider it more of a hobby, especially in that type of music. But, we were getting shows and selling T-shirts, and I got into communication. I learned a bit about communication. This was something I decided I had to do because I wanted to succeed. Whether we're talking about the band or the franchise or the multi-level marketing, what's one thing that's in common with all those things is that we got to get it sold. We got to get it sold. Now, unfortunately for me, I never had like a whole lot of formal sales training or anything, but I did pick up some books, mostly on personal development, and some books on sales and the philosophy and the psychology of successful salesmanship and all this. And over the years, I developed the ability to communicate with people. Very different than working on an engine, which doesn't talk to me, right? The only communication I'm getting back from the engine is if it runs, or the machinery, if it's operating properly. We can consider that two-way communication, I suppose, although that's me communicating with an inanimate object, right? There's nothing to do with like attitude there. It's all very objective, right? What I'm doing is now I'm getting more into subjective communication. Now, this is based on the attitudes and opinions of people. And in that realm, there are many, many more variables than there are with, talking to a piece of machinery, so to speak, talking with a wrench in this case. Okay, different methods of communication. So, so here I was. I developed some skills, and I got this job. And this job was just, again, out of desperation, in a field that I knew some stuff about, was machinery, cars and stuff. So they brought me on into a big car dealership where I could try my hand at selling cars. And in fact, it was kind of funny too. There was a sales aptitude test that I was given on my way in, and also a drug test. I had to pee in a cup, which I totally resent. I've been drug-free since 16 years old. Like I mentioned, I had a troubled youth, and I was enlightened at a very early age. Fortunately for me, that's not the way to go. So yeah, there you go. Here I am, the soberest guy probably in the state, and I get to pee in a cup. But hey, that's what you got to do. Okay, so I needed a job, so I got the job, and they gave me like a 50-50 shot of can this guy sell? I was like halfway approved, but they decided to bring me on. Anyway, I became their top guy. So much for the sales aptitude test. But you see, here is something that I had an aptitude for, and here's where we're going with this tonight. Yes, I had an aptitude and a natural affinity for machinery, in this case, transportation machinery that people would like to have in their life, in their garage and in their driveway. And it's going to solve their transportation problems, and we're going to do it in style, and we're going to do it with financing, and we're going to do it right here, right now, today. Okay. So, yes, I succeeded with that. And I became a sales manager, and they put me in charge of this newfangled thing called internet sales, internet lead generation, business development. And so I learned the ropes there, and then I started to develop the ropes myself. And again, became very good at this. But you know what? This was a bit of a trap. Here's what I want you guys to consider. I was again being gratified. I was able to do something where I had limited risk. Okay, I was in a job situation. I wasn't buying the car inventory and putting it on the car lot. Okay, but I was investing 70 hours a week of my time, sometimes more, right? What's called bell to bell in the car dealership world, where guys are working around the clock, right? No food, no sleep, that sort of thing. Actually, they'd bring in the food. We had a roach coach that would come around. That's a slang term for a food truck, food, catering. out of the side of a truck. You know, they pull into the warehouse-sized place. You see these at sports arenas and stuff. They come in, they open the side door of the truck, and there's like this big restaurant inside there, and they're cooking up the greasy food with the French fries, and today we're doing the chicken, and you know. So I was eating off of a truck every day, right, off the roach coach, and I was actually losing some of my previous decisions to be healthy, right? Because here I was out of desperation working this job 60, 70, 80 hours a week, eating crap food and not exercising and losing my fitness, which is something that I decided to do right around that same time. I decided to live a clean and sober life. And so this was taking its toll. I never had like social time with my fiance, you know, at the time, my wife now. And, I got to the point where it was killing me. It was killing me. I had a situation that had developed, a stress-induced situation, ended me up in the hospital. The doctor was like, hey, you know, this was right after I got married. Doctor was like, yeah, this is killing your husband, right? I was 32 years old. 32 years old. Now, here's the picture, okay? I just talked for 26 minutes painting a picture for you. Here's the picture. I had failed in multiple businesses, okay? I had ended up in debt and then taking a job out of desperation. I had done the franchise thing, right, which I wouldn't call a failure. It was more of just a lot more work than I had intended or expected. And so here I was in a condition where I had to like make this money, but it was actually killing me bodily. What to do? What to do? And some of you know my story is that I wound up, after recovering a bit from that hospital incident, I found an advertisement. Actually, in my case, it was an advertisement that someone had put on my car in the form of a business card-sized flyer. Piece of crap, too. It was not, like, well done. It was just like a piece of cardstock with some black ink on it, you know. But it was talking about making about $20,000 a month, which was my goal and had been my goal for years. Okay, here's where we're going tonight with this. This had been my goal for years, and here comes a communication from someone who impinged on my space. Yes, they impinged on my space. They did what's called marketing, okay? And talking about me reaching my goals. And I, of course, disbelieved the advertisement. I thought, yeah, right, this got to be a scam, whatever. Well, it was an advertisement for top-tier direct sales, a company that was around long ago, and where I cut my teeth and spent 8 years and ultimately became, well, very quickly became a top earner there and spent years working with these people. But I'll tell you what, we learned a lot, and one of the things that I had to learn was that not all opportunities are created equal. When it came time for me to make a decision, and this is a decision that some of you are making right now, even though that you're here and you put your name on an application and I don't know, maybe you're an Aspire member, maybe you got a RISE program, or maybe you're full Apex and you're still, you haven't yet, let me say it this way, you haven't yet seen the fruits of your decisions that you've made up to this point. You see, there's a process of multiple decisions that are made to become a top earner, to get to the black diamond level, so to speak, right? To get to the expert level, to be at the top of your game. There are a series of decisions that have to be made to do that. And this is where I may challenge some of you right now. Now, if you're brand new, the challenge is less for you than it is for someone who's decided, you know what, I'm all in with this and we're going to make this happen. Okay, so here's the challenge. If you're just looking at this business, let's say right here with Digital Altitude, okay, which is the same business model, a lot better, by the way, in terms of things that have gone on and advanced and evolved over the years since, you know, I was exposed to top-tier direct sales for the first time. This whole portion of the home business industry originated around mid-1990s. Okay, so this has been going strong now for a couple of decades. Not as long as network marketing, MLM, right? We can look back to the 1950s and see here's Amway, here's, you know, Herbalife, Shackley, and all these companies. So that's a bit more traditional, okay? Top-tier direct sales, not quite as traditional, okay? It's only been a couple of decades. And I've been around successfully for about 15 of those years. But the idea here is that if you're just new, looking at, wow, this is a big departure from my job, from the franchise, from the network marketing, right? This is a big departure. And we hear this all the time, by the way. I think I'm going to check this out for me, right? Because I was going really slow in that network marketing deal. Or that franchise was just killing me, and I don't want to spend, another 500 grand to start another franchise. Or, the job just plain sucks, and so I got to do something different. So whatever the motivator was to get here and to discover this newer, enhanced approach to personal entrepreneurship, that's all valid. But the first decision is to at least look seriously. And if you're somebody who's got, maybe you got a trial membership to Aspire, that's where you are. Okay, you got more decisions to make. Okay, now I told you decision was going to come up a few times in this conversation, so let's just define decision. Okay, let's define that because I'm very much into words and knowing what they mean. If I'm going to be using them, I like to know what they mean, right? Now the word decision is an especially powerful word when we know what it means. And the etymology of that word actually reveals the best part of it, and that is it's from the Latin root word decidere, which means to cut off from. D, right, from, okay, cedar, like incision, I'm not going to go through the whole dictionary with you right now, but incision, decision, you see that cut, cision, right, cut, so decidere, to cut off from. So D, I think, is the from part, and anyway, all that. So you've got a cutting off point. A decision is a cutting off point. It's not a whimsical thing. It's not something that is done by the dilettante, okay, which is another great D word. The dilettante, the person who, tries this, tries that, never really gets serious about anything, right? They're a dilettante. Okay, decisions are not made by dilettantes. Okay, a decision is a cutting off point. And I cut myself off from the ignorance of not knowing what this was when I decided to explore it thoroughly, right? And then I made another decision. I decided to get started, right? And in this case, getting the equivalent of what we know as the RISE program, right? That's another decision that I made. And then there were other decisions that could be made, like to actually show up and learn something, right? So that's another decision. In my case, back in the day, that meant going and driving to places where there were gatherings of people who were discussing the business, and going to things like we have right here, right now. We got this Black Diamond call, right? So you guys are here. You made a decision to learn some stuff from somebody who's already made millions doing this. Bravo. Glad you're here. Okay. We've got an event coming up in October, right? You can make a decision to go there. I suggest you do, right? So I had to make those decisions. I had to make decisions about business structuring and business plans and back-end profitability, right? So guess what? RISE isn't the only product that's offered in our curriculum, right? So I had to make decisions about my participation there. And then I had to make decisions about how I would occur in the marketplace. Yes, how I would not only be a consumer of this product line, this curriculum, okay? And by the way, I was also back then, all those years ago, dealing with educational products. In this case, with my original company, it was more on the personal development, less on the nuts and bolts marketing, but more on personal development, which is something that I'm very much interested in, obviously, right, because my life wasn't working as a kid. I've been on the personal development path since 1986. But the idea here is that this is something, again, I had an aptitude for. I had a natural affinity for. The products in the MLM deal, here's the vitamins, here's the stuff. Okay, if people want this stuff, I'm happy to promote it, and I'm most interested in having some success in my own life. And if the vehicle to getting there is this this vitamin line or whatever, okay, let's do that. I eat vitamins. That's all good. Whatever. I have no objection to it. Certainly no moral objection. But I wasn't on fire about it. Okay. But with educational products, with personal development, with marketing training, with success training, this is like, oh man, I'm on fire for that. Okay, so so we have the same thing here, right? We have the same thing here with digital altitude. This is something that well, I suppose any intelligent person would have a natural affinity for, right? Do you want to stay stupid? No. Well, then let's learn some stuff. Here's education, right? And my favorite quote about education was from Ben Franklin, where he said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Right, so that's really expensive. So I'm thinking this is a perfect fit. So I'm going to learn stuff to be more effective in my life. Okay, but now here's the next decision that I had to make. The next decision is, what am I going to do to enroll others in this brilliant idea, this brilliant solution that I have found, as evidenced by my buy-in, right? Yes, I'm in. Sign me up. I am in. Sign me up for that. That sounds like some good stuff. But now for me to make that decision right, in terms of actual profitability, I've got to now balance the flows. Here's what I mean by this. We can come in and we can make decisions, and this is where I said that I'm going to be a little bit challenging to some of our higher ranking members here today. Okay? So we can come in as a consumer of a product line and say, yes, sell me the stuff. Here's some money. Give me the stuff. Give me the training. Give me the stuff. Okay, that's great. Okay? So that is one flow. That's an inflow. I am inflowing content, training, material. Okay? Very nice. Very nice. Does that mean that you're a full participant? It does not. It does not mean that you're a full participant. No. You're a highly qualified prospect. Oh, what an insult. Somebody who just got started and decided, I'm going to do full Apex. Great. You're a highly qualified prospect. Now, why do I say that? Why do I throw the gauntlet down like that? Because there are two flows here. The second flow is the outflow. Just like the tide. The tide goes out, the tide comes in. It doesn't just go out or it doesn't just come in. It's got to go both ways. Has to, by law. Okay? And I've seen people who are, like, I'll go again back to the MLM field, where you've got like these conference call junkies. And they show up on the team training call, and they show up at the event, and they show up to inflow, right? And they're always looking for more tips, more secrets, more stuff. I need more, because, you know, one more call might give me the secret. And they never execute, right? These are training call junkies. And so now what does that mean? Well, they're excellent consumers. Excellent consumers. Nick is admitting his guilt in the chat roll here. Okay, so excellent consumers. Bravo. And there's a time to be a consumer. Yes, are you a pioneer? Do you want to have arrows in your back? Do you want to like go really slow because you can never learn anything from anybody else? You need to discover everything anew for yourself? No, be the student. That's great. There's a time to consume. There's a time to inflow. Absolutely. But that's all you have to show. Okay? So if I sponsor somebody into my business and they are a good student, that is beautiful. That's a highly qualified prospect. Are they a full-blown affiliate? Well, an affiliate, by definition, again, we can look at definitions, and that is someone who promotes a product or an offer that is designed and produced and delivered by someone else. What does that have to do with consuming? It doesn't have anything to do with consuming. That has to do with producing sales. That has to do with promotion. That has to do with advertising, marketing, sales. Yes, outflowing a message into the marketplace to get a response and to induce decision in others. There's the punchline, my friends. There's that word again, decision. So well done, little John. You went ahead and you learned how to make some decisions in your life. You are a good consumer of information, and your life works better now, but to the extent that you will put that information to use in the field of sales and marketing, you are now inducing decision in others. You see how we just turned that flow around? Now I know that I've got a business partner. Now I know that I've got an affiliate. Up until that point, I had a good consumer. But now we take the material and we put it to use. Yes, my friends, training is for use. I know that may be a shock to some people. and like the MLM people, Jagdish is saying holy something in the chat roll there. The light bulb just went on for Jagdish. Okay, very good. So here's the thing. I'm in my MLM deal, and I need to buy $100 a month worth of jungle juice, and I really don't like the jungle juice, but we got an extra spot in the garage. We'll put it in the garage, and you know what? I'm sure we can give some samples to people, and next month we'll buy some more of the jungle juice. We're really good consumers, and I'm sure that at some point, you know what? This is all going to work out for me. But what's missing? What's missing, my friends? Marketing. That's what's missing. Marketing, yes, they are very good at inflowing jungle juice, but can they put it out into the marketplace? They have been able, yes, they have been able to make a decision to buy the jungle juice, but can they induce that decision in others? Remember that aptitude test I told you I had to take when I was getting my first sales job? Oh, funny stuff. Funny stuff. Yeah. There is a sales aptitude test, by the way, and it's happening right now. It's happening right now, but it's actually more of a decision aptitude test, right? Can you see the tide go out and come in? Can you see both sides? Can you see both flows? And can you see yourself being cause over that? Can you cause these currents to move? That's the real aptitude test. And that's where personal development comes in. Because if we sit around like a consumer, like the effect, okay, and never reverse that flow and say, oh, I'm the cause now. I'm the producer. I'm not the consumer. Now I'm the producer. Yes, there's a time to consume, but there's a time to produce. Okay? And now there's a time to be cause, and not just the effect. I'm going to be the cause. Right? Just like you decided there's a time to be an entrepreneur, not just an employee. Yes, I can learn stuff, I can be a student, but when it comes to my own immediate financial future, I'm going to be more causative. I want control of that. Right? You see, you've reclaimed some of that causation in your life. Okay, so now, can we induce that in others? The answer is yes, we can. We can. But again, the prerequisite to that is that you're fully enrolled yourself. In other words, that you've made decisions based on your own high level of affinity for the offer. We've talked about this before on these calls, okay, that you have sold yourself. And you are sold yourself. And now you can induce decision in others by simply outflowing a message, causing a response, right? This is direct response marketing. There's nothing vague about it, right? We put a message out there. Somebody clicks on your link. They opt in to your lead capture page. And if you're brand new here and you don't know what I'm talking about yet, you're going to be trained on all that. Don't worry, it's all coming. Okay? But now that you're putting out a message there, you are actually inducing multiple decisions on the part of other people. You see that? What was the first decision I had to make? To call the phone number that was on the flyer that somebody put on my card. That was the decision I had to make. Someone induced that decision in me. Now, most people would just throw the flyer in the garbage. Okay, no sale. No sale. That's most of the time. That's no sale. So I'm not saying that for you to have an aptitude for sales, that you need to like close everybody. I don't close everybody. I'm somewhat legendary in the field of direct sales, but that doesn't mean I close everybody. Right? Most people say no. I don't care what it is. You could be handing out the cure to cancer, save the whales, free money, and magic, I don't know, massages or something, and still, most people would say no. That's fine. That's fine. In fact, I remember I was doing a hotel presentation once to a group of people, and I was telling about the opportunity and everything, and one of the guys in the back of the room stood up, and he threw down a challenge. His challenge was, if this is so great, why doesn't everybody do it? And I said, well, because most people are idiots. And he sat down. He got started. He got started that night. That was the answer he was looking for. So, okay. So we've got this opportunity now to reverse that flow and to induce decisions, plural, decisions in others, right? Now, if you know it's to their benefit because you're sold yourself. Now, how hard is it to sell? It's not. It's not. And you're just sorting at that point. You're just saying, look, I got the golden goose. I've decided for myself that's what it is. And the public, they know not of the benefits that could be theirs, but for your impinging on their space. Are you willing to do that? Yes, do that. The training is for use. It's for use, so use it. And now you're starting to build momentum, and now you're bringing in sales, and people are converting, and next thing you know, you've got one of your people who are also reversing the flow. Not only have they gotten started and gotten the product line and showed up at events and done all the things that top earners do, but they too are reversing the flow. They too are bringing in new members, new customers, new participants to the offer. Now you know who you've got there. Now up until that point, all you had was some highly qualified prospects, some of which pay more money to learn the ropes than others, okay? And some don't make commitments at all, some commit more than others, but still, we know who somebody is once they have not only inflowed but also outflowed, causing others to inflow. You see, this is the thing where a lot of people get tripped up in sales and marketing, is they've got this idea that they inherited from somebody else, that it would somehow be, I don't know, manipulative or wrong or in some way something different than who they are now for them to induce a decision in another person. But I can tell you, my friends, if there's anything that I've developed in myself over the past decades of learning how to be more effective in my own life, is that by the virtue of the fact that I have done so much work on myself and that I have taken some serious introspective looks at how people operate and how decisions are made or avoided, I now feel full license to speak with no inhibition to people who say they want the kind of results that we're able to get in this world, and to say with full license, then this is what you need to do. Do exactly this. I'll show you exactly what I did. You can do it. You cannot do it. I do whatever you want, right? I mean, I'm not your boss, thank goodness, okay? But here's the opportunity. Here's how we maximize it, right? And whether that's you placing your first advertisement, or that's you, maybe you have a weekly team training call, or maybe you've got a someone that you gave them your phone number or your Skype in a follow-up email. They're calling you. You're talking to them. Can you, without flinching, tell them what to do? Because you know what to do, and they clearly don't. Clearly, based on their results, they don't know what to do. Do you have license to give someone else a directive and have them follow it? If not, that's where your work is, like starting right now. And that's why I say personal development, that sort of, self help and personal achievement type education, studying books on psychology and philosophy and stuff like that. That's why it's so huge. It's so huge because you're the most important piece of that puzzle. And if you can't induce decision in others, you close nothing. The first transaction is, give me your email address and I'm going to give you some good information. That's the first sale. If any of you have generated a lead, even one lead, you've made a sale. You've caused a transaction to happen. You've induced a decision in another person. Does that feel weird? Did you manipulate them? Well, no, not unless you're lying on your lead capture page. Now, a lot of you are using our stock lead capture pages, which we've got a nice variety of. So I can tell you that's on the up and up. Okay, now unless you're creating your own stuff where you're saying, instant millions today and, bikini babes on the deck of your boat by tomorrow, okay, you're an idiot and you're only going to attract idiots. Okay, but that's not the kind of people we tend to attract here, right? So can you do that ethically? Of course you can do that ethically. I've often said to people who I've coached, Hey, look, if the truth isn't good enough, go sell something else. You don't need to embellish or fake it till you make it or whatever that means. Just sell it to yourself so you know what you got. And then you've got full license to induce action and decision on the part of others. And if not you, then who? I'll tell you who. Another top earner. Somebody else who's not only just inflowing, but is also outflowing, unapologetically outflowing, causing stuff to happen in the marketplace. Cause, not effect, cause. That's what we're looking for you to be. And the message is different for all of us, right? I signed up a lot of blue collar, tradesmen, right? Why? I was a blue collar tradesman, right? I speak that language, right? They're tired of getting their hands all bloody, freezing underneath a truck on the side of the road in Linden, New Jersey in the middle of winter with the ice and sleet. Yeah, I know what that's like. I did that for years. Okay, so think about it. Think about what language do you speak and what market can you penetrate unapologetically and induce decision in others. And now we know who you are. Now we know who you are. And so will the marketplace. See that? We started our week this morning with Cassandra talking about how you occur in the marketplace. And this is a habit that you will develop one way or another, right? You could develop the habit of being a ghost, right? That's one way you could occur in the marketplace as an invisible person. You could develop the habit of the helpful person, right? You're caring and you're nurturing and stuff. That's one method of marketing. That's fine. You could develop the habit of like the hard-charging leader type, right? That could be the character that shows up in the marketplace. No matter what, you're going to develop the habit of showing up as something. So we can be deliberate about it, but it's not like you need to fake it or anything. I think you guys all know how I show up. You're seeing it right now, right? I suppose if I had to describe myself, intellectual philosopher, driver, right? Like a hard-charging driver / analytical thinker type person. Coach, mentor, advisor, author, thinker, right? That's who I am. Now, people who are just looking for, beer parties and like online marketing is supposed to be, how much debauchery can we conjure up in one weekend? They're not so attracted to my message, right? You start quoting Emerson and stuff like that, or Johann Goethe, people run in the other direction. That's okay. That's not my market. Okay, but you're going to show up as something. You don't have to fake it. Just decide who you are and be that. And the point is to be that. And as you be, so you do, and as you do, so you have. Be, do, and have. But don't neglect the doing part. Don't neglect the doing. And are you going to succeed every time? No, you're going to fail most of the time. I'm just telling you, that's sales and marketing. Engineers have a real hard time with this. Analytical people, mechanically inclined people like me, I had a real hard time with this. This was like, you mean 80% of marketing falls on deaf ears? So success is like being right 20% of the time? Yeah, that's it. Don't tell that to an accountant or an engineer or mechanic. If I was successful in having the machinery run 20% of the time, you know what I would be? Fired, right, fired. Reminds me of a quote by the late Vince Lombardi, the football coach. He said, if you're not fired with enthusiasm, you will be fired with enthusiasm. Good stuff, good stuff. So my friends, my message for you tonight is to decide who you are, and who you are as a producer, not just a consumer. Okay? And with full license and full ferocity, go into the marketplace as whoever you choose to be in the marketplace. Induce decision in others, unapologetically. Okay? Because right now people are starving for leadership. I love it when I meet a good salesperson. Somebody please help me make a decision, because there's like 15,000 TV sets here in this Best Buy or whatever electronic store, and I want the best one for my needs. Somebody sell me something here. Don't stand around like mamby-pamby tour guide or something. Give me some data. Move me in the right direction, damn it. Okay? We're not going to piss away time like we're all immortal here. Let's make a decision. And thank goodness I found somebody like that in my life. So if you're wondering if you're doing something good and right by inducing quality decisions in others, to take control of their immediate financial future, to get involved with you and your business and your opportunity, just know that there was a time when I was dying because my job was killing me, and someone impinged on my space and said, John, you need to look at this and you need to sign up, and it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars that you don't have, and then you're going to do this marketing, and we're going to show you what we're doing. And if you do this, these are the results that we're getting. You can either follow us, or I suppose there's your job. You already know what that's about. Choose. You can pick whichever road you want. We personally don't care, but we hope for your sake you get started. Thank you for the messengers who were in my life, who helped me make some decisions when that was like the furthest thing from my mind. I was just surviving, barely. Tell you what, my life has changed, if that isn't already glaringly obvious. Yes, my friends, I'm here to attest to my life having changed. Anyway, I thought I was going to talk for like 20 minutes tonight, and of course, whenever that happens, it's an hour. I see your feedback in the chat room. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for Q&A and commentary. If anybody wants to come out, we can certainly. So if you guys want to come on out, I see we've got an intimate crowd here tonight, smaller group. So if you're afraid of talking live, there's only like a handful of people here with us. So we're all amongst friends. You can raise your hand. I see we got Llewellyn coming out here. Hey, Llewellyn. Llewellyn, you're live on the air.
Hi, John. Thank you very much again for the inspiring call that you did tonight.
Oh, well, thank you, Llewellyn.
It just made me think, and I think I need to tell this also, for everybody in the DA journey, you're going to get a lot of speed bumps, a lot of potholes, and this is what I've experienced, frustration sometimes. And I know you're talking about outflowing, John, and I do get it and I do understand it. But my question is that, like, I just want to ask, what if you have a question to getting better outflow, but it takes forever for somebody to tell you or guide you in the right direction? Because there is a problem that I have at the moment. Sometimes I do have questions because I don't know nothing about digital marketing and I'm just starting out. And sometimes I don't know stuff, but when I ask, it takes my coaches or people in the Facebook groups a long time to respond, or everybody just saying marketing. What is marketing? How must I do it? What must I do it? Because at the moment I'm just doing what I think I need to do to get me out there and getting clicks or getting likes or get people to be like me, opting in. So this is just the thing that I need to get everybody out there. You're going to get a lot of speed bumps, you're going to get a lot of photos, but the one thing is stay motivated, stay driven, and always keep your why you started in the first place in your vision. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Llewellyn. Thank you. And you know what? The thing that converts, the thing that causes decision is confidence, right? So when we look at how you're communicating with people, the more you're sold yourself, it's like I've talked about before on these calls, the transfer of enthusiasm. So I am sold myself. Last four letters of the word enthusiasm, IASM. I am sold myself. And so with that confidence, with that knowingness, you can now induce some knowingness in others. Without that, you're kind of sheepish, right? It's like, oh, yeah, we'll try. And it comes through in your voice and your resolve or lack of resolve. And so that is the thing, which quite often, Llewellyn, and everyone, quite often requires that we get way out of our comfort zone, which I did when I was getting started in this industry. My goodness, putting the big dollars on the table, and I hadn't seen any money yet. And after all, I've been burned in those other deals. Man, I don't want to do that again. So, right, we all got a past. But once I finally found a business model and people of integrity who are willing to teach, my goodness, once I knew it, basically once I decided, once I sold myself, because nobody else could sell me. Once I sold myself, then I could very easily communicate with others and people are like, oh, this guy's going somewhere. They don't even know what the damn product is. Doesn't even matter. This guy's going somewhere, right? Yeah.
You're right,
Good
John.
stuff, Milan. Thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to seeing you next month.
Yes, looking forward to seeing you too, John.
Very good. All right, we're going to go to our next caller here, who is James. James, you're live on the air.
Hello.
Hey
I
there,
really
James.
have a question. Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
I really didn't have a question. I just, I was messing. I hit the wrong button on it, but good to be here.
Oh, well, glad you're here, James. Good stuff. Is this your first live call with us?
Yes, it is.
Well, there you go, everybody. There's James. All right, give James some love in the chat roll there. James, glad you're here, man. Looking forward to seeing you next month as well at Marketing Mastery. You got your ticket?
Not yet.
James, let's fix that right now. Go to digitalaltitude.co/MME. And really good stuff. By the way, everybody, if you go to the Digital Altitude blog, go to digitalaltitude.co, okay, and you'll find the blog there. And there is the post from last week's Top Earners get-together that Dallas Brown hosted. James, you would definitely be well served to watch that webinar. It was really cool. So, and they talk a bit about the events and stuff in there as well. So, James, welcome, my friend. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right. And with that, we're going to go to our next caller, which is Rosie. You're live on the air. Rosie?
Oh, hey. My question is, I know I've been told a lot that I need to focus on one thing, but I have a problem with focus on one thing because I don't know what the one thing is that I'm good at when it comes to all the different ways that you can market. So do you have any information on that, or
Yeah.
how can I figure out what is it that I'm good at when it comes to marketing?
What do you do in your free time, Rosie?
What do you mean, what do I do in my free time?
What do you do when you're not marketing?
Working at
What kind of
my
work do you do?
job. Pharmacy tech.
Tech. Okay. So you are you're into the technology of, in this case, pharmaceuticals. But how does that aptitude, that skill, translate most easily into marketing? And I have an idea, although I don't want to enforce my ideas on you. My idea would be something in the realm of an intellectual approach. So that could be a blog, article marketing, like one of our top earners, Jesse Singh, does. You know Jesse Singh?
Yes, and I've been kind of looking at him. I've looked at blogging. I like doing motivational things, so I'm looking at Instagram. And I've been placing some Facebook ads, but I don't know the thing that I'm good at, so I can just focus on that one thing and not be all over the place.
Okay. Well, there are, I would say, if you're interested in ads and also into like social media, then pick one of each. Okay, so let's say that you did, with your technical background, and I've never been a pharmaceutical tech, so I can't speak intelligently about it, but you certainly have to have some sort of attention to detail, I would imagine, right? You don't want to give the wrong drugs to the patient or whatever, right? Am I right?
That's very true. Very true.
Okay, good.
A lot of attention to
So
detail.
you've got the blessing of attention to detail, which some people don't have. Some people can't actually see the instructions. Like when I give somebody instructions, like they need to be told a few times because they have a blind spot sometimes. You don't have that blind spot, or you wouldn't be in that job. So you're able to see accurately things like instructions and statistics and things like that. So for somebody like you, while you've got a bit of creative streak while at the same time analytical, maybe get into banner advertising, right? So now you can, are you familiar with banner advertising?
Oh yeah, I had banners in the background in my mind, but I've not tried them yet.
Well, there you go. Look, everybody, anyone who's got the question of what should I do, here's the answer. What's the thing that you've been thinking about doing that you haven't done yet? That's it. That's the one. Do that.
Okay. All right. That's a new avenue. That's something I can try.
Oh yeah, and it gets to be fun too. You get to be creative, and at the same time, you get to bury yourself in statistics if you like. I mean, you don't have to go crazy with it, but still, right? You'll see about what is this ad doing? What is that ad doing? Where are you placing that ad? And maybe you're into some trade journals, or like in terms of like print ads, or on the what kind of websites do pharmaceutical techs hang out on, or similar kind of things. Like I was a mechanic, but I also had construction, contractors and other tradesmen. It doesn't have to be specifically diesel mechanic on a tugboat.
Okay.
No, but a tradesman, right? So sort of broaden that and get into that conversation with those kinds of people, and you should have no problem developing some momentum with that. I can tell you, for me, Rosie, I'm a talker. So for podcasting, videos, stuff like that, I love it. It's effortless for me, effortless, which is why I asked you, what you're currently doing with your free time or with work, or things that you already have an aptitude for.
Right.
Some people would never get in front of a camera. For me, oh my goodness, give me a camera, give me a stage, give me a microphone.
All right, I'm not the camera person, but banner ads, I've been looking at the ones that I do have in the back office, but I haven't promoted them yet. So I'll start.
I think we just lost, something just happened. I think we just lost our friend Rosie. Rosie, sorry about that. Not sure what's happening. Right. Well, it sounded like you had a cognition anyway, Rosie. So well done. I'm glad we had that conversation. Let me see here who else we have in queue. We're going to have to wrap up pretty soon because I got a new student to meet with here in just a moment. So it looks like Lynn. Lynn, you're live on the air.
I am? Okay,
Yes,
can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, great. Okay, I lost the icon with the microphone in there. Yeah, it's been great. I got a real surprise today. I've been having a difficult time getting some leads generated, and I tried some different things, and on my page it says 293 leads, and I think I'm going to get excited. I think I've been excited.
Good stuff, Lynn. Well, congratulations. It sounds like the momentum's coming here. You're outflowing, and therefore those who outflow must inflow. Here come the leads.
Yeah.
So good stuff, my friend. Well done. It's just the beginning.
That's right.
All right. Thanks for being here, man. And again, we lost Rosie, but we're going to go ahead. We got a couple more people in queue. We'll take the next few, and then we're going to have to wrap up. So thanks again, Lynn. And looks like Theogeny, you're on the air. Am I saying your name right?
Right. Theogeny Nsanzi.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you, John. I'm calling from Tennessee, Knoxville.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm calling from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee. Very good.
Yes.
You're live.
Yes. My question is that, I'm a RISE member, and I'm still new, but I have taken almost 2 years trying to follow up about Aspire program, and I've been distracted by not make decision, as you said, because I follow a lot of different, distracted by different companies and programs which are scammers. I gotta say that, because they showed some system which are not proven, like Aspire. But I got like 3 months being a member of Aspire, and I didn't have any possibility to go to be like a peak or attend like a IPEX, and I don't have any possibility right now to go to MME. But what I would like to ask you is, how can I go in good way in order to achieve my goals, as long as I believe in Aspire and digital attitude? What can you help me right now as like something like good decision we can make?
I'd say the best decision you can make right now is to decide that you're actually going to reach these goals. Stop talking about what you can't do and start looking at ways that you can do. Something as small as getting down the street to Las Vegas in a few weeks to essentially completely completely accelerate your growth.
Yeah.
My goodness. What does it take to do that? Grab a Greyhound bus ticket and a Sherpa ticket to the event and just get there. You can find a roommate, I'm sure. If it's a money thing, right? We're not talking about big money here. This is a gift.
Okay.
Gift.
Okay, I hear you, John, and that was my question. Anytime I think about it, I was thinking about to take Greyhounds, and it's not different or difficult to attend there. But sometimes, I be skeptical about money. But that like a ticket, I can grab it. But I don't know. I need to get more elaboration or more information about how it gotta be and how it can be, because I just take Greyhound, and I don't know how much you can spend for one person, because I don't expect to go maybe with any partner or another person according to my financial statement. But I was thinking that how much somebody estimate how much somebody can cost without ticket and other things like a spend.
Okay, well, since we're obviously way off topic with the call and also out of time, I'm going to ask you to get back with your coach. Are you working with a coach right now?
Right. Because tomorrow I start my trainings.
Oh, you're brand new. You're brand new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
man.
Yes. So, look, great respect. Congratulations for coming out live on a call, right? You're brand new here.
Yes.
Much more is about to be revealed to you. So, Diogene, you're in a good spot. Okay. And this is all going to work out. You're brand new. So, yeah, you'll see. Everybody in the chat room could also tell you there is a lot of assets here and advantages for you, which you haven't even seen yet. You're going to do just fine, my friend.
Right. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Unfortunately, I only have time for one more, and then we got to wrap up. So we're going to go ahead and hear from our next caller, which is Laura. You're live on the air.
Hi, John.
Hey, how you doing, Laura?
Hi. Pretty good. I won't take too long. I just want to say thank you again for your input. It's always so valuable. I mean, what I got today about what you were saying is the first thing is that I'm a great consumer, and that's something that's good. But now it's time for me to become that, what do you call it, inductor?
Producer.
A producer. Inducer.
A producer,
okay.
Yes. You are, as a producer of a marketing message, you are now inducing decision in others, a decision to opt in, to learn more, to buy something, to participate. Yes, the producer of sales and marketing is the one who does that, who induces that.
Yes. Right.
And Laura, you're such an awesome lady. I know you personally. For anyone who's wondering if I know Laura, yes, I know Laura. I was Laura's coach. You're a graduate now, Laura. Okay? So now it's time for you to make your mark. Right? Unapologetic.
And I am.
Make your mark.
That's what I'm doing. I've been working pretty hard, and I think I've learned everything that I need to, and I'm getting ready to work on to promote with my own funnel that I created. So I've been all learning about the lead pages, capture pages, everything about it. So now, yeah, I'm ready. And just one last thing, I'm really looking forward to meeting you in Las Vegas and inviting everyone who's listening. It's a must that we go for every reason in the world. We owe this to ourselves, and I understand that money is tough, for most of us at this moment. But we definitely need to find a way to get there. I have my ticket. I have not booked the flight yet, but I'm doing that this week, and I'm just so thrilled to be part of DA.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for being here. I'm so looking forward to meeting you in person for the first time as well. And you know what? With that, we do have to wrap up because I do have a hard stop in like 52 seconds because I've got one of our new Digital Altitude students who's going to be meeting with me for the first time. So we're going to have to wrap up with that. Hold on. So guys and gals, thank you so much for being here with us. And it's always a pleasure to share Monday nights with you. Be sure to share the podcast recording with any of your team members who weren't here. And in the meantime, just make it a great day. I will see all of you back here tomorrow morning for our wake-up call with Joel Strait. In the meantime, have a great night. Bye for now.